Начата запись встречи.
Hello, my dear students, and it will be a practical class, and this practical class topic you already see. Number 8, practical class number 8. And time IMC, we should have finished approximately by 18:30 in my time. Great, let's start. But before we get started, I will show you what I recommend you next as a literature, if necessary. If you're interested in the subject, if you'd like to have additional information, I'll send you a couple of books. Once again, remind you, those dozens of books that I'm bombing you permanently, not necessary to study on heart. But if you're interested in some topic, I'd like you to have additional sources of information besides of my blah, blah, blah here in lectures. Do forgive me. So I will propose you this book. It's Federal Aviation Administration book about helicopters. Don't forget, this book, it's not for engineers. It's not for mechanical engineers who design the book. Those books of FAA, they are focused on pilots, actually, on training of pilots. So mostly it's not about engineering matters, but mostly it's for how to pilot airplane, or what are rules of federal administration as to the helicopters, sorry. What are rules, restrictions, limitations, and so on. And some about techniques of piloting. We don't need it. I use those books mostly for their bright illustrations, I already said you. And you may find there also some additional informations. In particular, they have here chapter Introduction to the Helicopters, very useful, and Aerodynamics of Flight, very useful chapter, as for me. All other things, they are for pilots useful, for mechanical engineer, they are practically not necessary. And some books also, I will send you, not even books, it's more similar, something like essays or some historical book about helicopters. What you may read if you're interested in this subject. And maybe you have already, no, by the moment when you will watch this one, you maybe already have seen one of previous practical classes about Sikorsky. Sikorsky Igor Ivanovich, Russian-American engineer, inventor of many things, the one who I call it in the video, the man who was the first ever. And this man we will meet also today, among another people who have relation to the history of aviation, to the history of helicopters. And actually, we will talk not only about helicopters, but as you have seen here, the name, we will try to talk about so-called rotorcrafts. Very well. Do start from beginning, and time to time I will use different places for illustrating my words. I hope I'll be short. I hope I will not overtime this time. And what I propose you to see first. No, the very first slide, it's about classification of flying machines, flying vehicles that you have already seen in previous slides. All the variety of different airplanes, heavier than air, lighter than air, with single wing, driven, non-driven, with single wing, with rotors, and so on. And here is the great area, or the whole area here. It's the area of rotorcraft. To take a look, it's variety of structures, of schemes of them, even greater than variety of heavier than air and lighter than air fixed wing aircraft and rockets and so on. In this picture, you see once again aircraft already only of aerodynamic type. There was represented rocket dynamic, aerostatical, and aerodynamical. Here you see some aircraft only of aerodynamical type. And what do we see? Airplane, fixed wing airplane, aircraft which has some propulsion system. Glider, again, fixed wing aircraft which has propulsion system. That one flying saucer looks like. I'm already explained you. It's so-called ekranoplane. In English, it's also called ekranoplane. Direct translation will be from our language to English, but they get used to this name. In English literature, they call it ekranoplane, what is taken from Slavonic languages, literally. This ekranoplane, directly screen plane, it's actually the type of flying vehicle that rather similar, usually it's rather similar to the airplane with the fuselage and wing, so-called blended body. Practically, it's like integrated one into another. And such a screen as effect, flying screen, literally, it has additionally lifting effect due to its shape, because it creates something like wind tunnel between the ground and the bottom surface of such aircraft. But that one is able to move to up heaviest ever lifts only under the condition that it's lying over the conditionally flat surface. Maybe it's a desert area, maybe it's a sea, and maybe it's a polar area with heavy snow, ice, for instance. In case of normal flight, it's quite the same flying machine and not even with much high quality, aerodynamical quality, do I mean. About rotorcrafts. Now, what do we see here? To be frank, there are just some different schemes of helicopters represented here. But in a history, and now not only in history that already passed, we have more types of rotorcraft. What does it mean, rotorcraft? No, you will see next definition. Idea is that fixed wing aircraft need to move this fixed wing through the air linearly, and due to this, this wing create lift. Idea of rotorcraft is that rotor, that wing, actually the wing, some wings are assembled and rotates. Due to their rotation, they have downwashing. And due to this downwashing, it's appeared a lift on each particular blade of this assembly that is called rotor. It's appeared a lift. And this force lift may be used for flight and for controlling the flight, for changing the flight direction. Question is, why this rotor or rotors will rotate? Because, for instance, they are driven by engine. In this case, if this machine is this vehicle, flying vehicle, has rotated rotors rotated by engine or group of engines, they are usually called helicopters. Let's take a glance to the definition. What is understood as rotorcraft? You see, I forgot to say, a heavier than air aircraft. That is important. A heavier than air aircraft that depends principle for its supporting flight, lift generated by one or more rotors, as I said. But depending on whether these rotors driven by engine or not, and depending on whether the flight of this aircraft, horizontal flight, depends only on rotors or not, there are some principal different schemes of them. I will start with the ones that I have mentioned once already. And this one is called autogyro. Maybe it's necessary to show it with another color, those names. Let it be. Now you see in front of you, you see pictures of autogyro. In order you understand that that is not latest achievement or someone trick, maybe you have already familiar with those. Oh, do forgive me, I forgot to switch off those sides. Maybe you're familiar with the structures already. On the left, typical airplane or general aviation. But this typical airplane, for someone, it has, you see, rather big rotor at the top. But if you see attentively, if you watch attentively, you may notice here is a rotating prop. of pushing scheme on behind of fuselage. And that one, it's the auto gyre of the period of Second World War. As you may understand by the general appearance and by this sign, it's Soviet flying vehicles. And the same, you see normal airplane, but this normal airplane, for some reason, it has additionally huge prop. What is idea of this flying machine? Actually, it's something like airplane, but this airplane with insufficient wings practically. And it's maybe almost without the wings. Look at this. Seems like this creature has no wings at all. What hold it in air? It's do normal runway. It can't fly, take off vertically and landing vertically. No, it's already practically possible. Maybe not quite vertically, but possible. Its rotor does not connected to the engine. Rotor work in the auto rotation mode. It means that rotor will start rotates after these flying vehicles, after this dragonfly will run over runway for some meters at least, or maybe for some tens of meters. And relative wind, which appear due to motion this vehicle onto runway, relative wind will start rotate the rotor, which is not fixed, and this auto rotation will be resulted in appearing of additional forces, so-called resulting force. You know, this resulting aerodynamical force which appear on the airfoil, and this resulting aerodynamical force, depending on how this rotor deviated, it will be it may be decomposed to the horizontal one, which counteract which will counteract to the which actually resulted in additional drag. Do forgive me, and need to counteract the will counteract the thrust. I mean, this machine has more significant drag. You understand it, due to the prop. On one hand, it has additional lift, or it has lift only due to such auto-rotated rotor also may happen. But look at this. That one practically without wing, it means that it's completely its lift completely depends practically on auto-rotated rotor. And that one has wing. So whilst flight, it somehow rely on the lift of the wing. And auto-rotor, this auto-rotated rotor, it's give you additional lift together with additional drag, you already understood. And what is better with respect to the normal helicopter, let's say? No, on one hand, this creature is not able to hover, in contrary to helicopter. It's can't stop in air and hang somewhere over the surface. It's called hovering. And that one is not able, as only it stop its linear motion. It's in some seconds, in some minutes, again, this auto rotation stopped, quite clear. And in contrary to helicopter, I said you it's need horizontal flight on one hand, and on other hand, in contrary to airplane, it has something like additional. No, it's not air brake, but it's like brake which reduce the falling down this airplane in case you have problem with main engine, for instance. So in terms of take off, they are a bit more safe than simple helicopter or simple airplane, maybe. But they are not able to take off vertically first, and they are not able to hover in air. What you see, gyroplane, definition, rotorcrafts that use unpowered rotor to develop lift. Now, they extremely various in design. You might check it in internet, or maybe we will see it even together in case time will be enough to see some photos. I placed here literally couple of them to demonstrate you the variance. These autogyres been created historically. They has appeared earlier than helicopters, earlier than first models at all of helicopters, and it was approximately 10, 12 years of 20th century when first models of autogyre they already been designed. Whether they flying or not, it's difficult to say because like people write there are no evidences of their flights, but at least models has been created and people already thought about this way of fly. Well, next one. Так. Here is, I forgot about this slide. Very interesting picture that demonstrates the basic differences between normal airplane, normal helicopter, normal, it means it's conventional one we get used to see, and this device which is called autogyre. Another name for it, pay attention, you may meet it with name gyroplane, gyrocopter, or maybe some another name even. The most popular is autogyro, but gyroplane, gyrocopter, they are also usable, let's say. You do remember what is my opinion about terminology in English talking countries. And now you see that autogyre, I hope it's obvious for you. Autogyre, it's something like hybrid between conventional airplane and conventional helicopter. So it's combined both advantages, disadvantages of both of type. And here is, you see, in helicopter, there are no propulsion force which appeared due to another engine or to another prop, for instance. Propulsion force of helicopter depends only on main rotor of helicopter. In contrary to autogyre, like airplane, it has thrust developed by engine, and this engine, no, typically these dragonflies, not really something like flying bicycles, but with skin over the skeleton. And these vehicles, they are of piston engine type or maybe electrical piston type, uh, electrical type of engine. Have seen photos, if I'm not mistaken, have seen photos even on manual, not ready to show you right now, maybe in previous set of slides. Photos where it was really something like bicycle, human power flight for such devices. Autogyre, gyroplane, gyrocopter. Slow in speed, usually it's light, not heavier, but there are some of them, as you might see even in photo, that been rather sufficient in weight. Well, next type of flying machine, that one, once again, it has rotor, but this rotor not connected to the engine, and it's work in the auto rotation mode. Next one, it's called gyrodyne. Well, now you see definition of it. Couple of models. One of the first ones, that is one at the corner. It's not real one. It's so-called concept. Concept proposed by a very popular, good known company in America, DAPRA company, that mostly work with experimental models of airplane. We will already have seen some. We already have seen some their airplanes in one of our classes, and I hope in next class also we'll see and talk about their models and about designer. Once again, Bert Rutan, who is responsible for this. Time to time, mostly he is responsible. Look now, what do you see in the picture? First glance, first look, you see airplane. But this airplane, for some reason, has additional devices. At the top, you see American Gyrodyne, that one. And at the bottom, you see Soviet Gyrodyne. Gyrodynes were extremely popular, no idea of Gyrodynes, were extremely popular in 15, 16, 17 years of previous century. Actually, they've been idea was to use them. They've been mostly as a cargo or passengers, and they practically looks like normal airplanes, but they also have main rotor, at least one main rotor they have. They have normal engines, which responsible for cruise flight, but they also have main rotor. You may compare it with convertoplan, for instance. You may say it's convertoplan. No, it's not, because it has a main rotor that work permanently, in contrary to convertoplan, which no, change, let's say, directions of their probes in order to serve either as main rotors or as normal probes in flight. That one permanently use two different system of propulsion, let's say, and of creating the lift. What is not no less important. It has wing, but this wing is not so big as it should be for such size and such capacity. The cargo, do forgive me, no, the general weight, the mass of this airplane. Wing obviously should be greater in size, but due to work of additional rotors, of course it's additional drag. Of course this machine is very slow, but due to additional rotors, it's able to create additional lift. And how it's normally flew, how it's worked. For taking off and landing, they use these rotors, so they may take off and landing vertically. What is extremely popular idea was for reducing the territory of airfields and reducing the time of transportation between megapolises. It's much more simple to create something like a helicopter landing place, something like this, somewhere in a city, than using normal airplanes, which need long runways, which need significant infrastructure for their landing and taking off. And quite clear that these airports, they are far from city, far from megapolis. And in case you use airplane, normal airplane, to transport between some places, it means that first you need to get to the airport, maybe the whole hour. Next, you waiting for all the procedures in the airport. Next, you are flying around 1 hour, and next you're repeating again all the procedures and getting back to the megapolis. Very, very saving the time. Very great time saving. And in this way, gyrodynes may help people to save time for transportation between cities. But quite clear that all these intermediate modes of flight, when one engine works, another engine doesn't work, when they are switching, they are not so convenient, not so reliable, should be said. Likewise, the converter planes at all, converter planes. And gyrodyne, once again, look, helicopter-like system driven by engine, but it's only for takeoff and landing, as it's called in sources. But as far as I know, it's continue to work in flight either to create additional lift. Вот. And one or more additional conventional propellers or jet engines, as we might see here in photos. What obviously normal engine props, prop engines with props. And here is also visible, what look at this in the cam of Gyrodyne, we see normal props and the exhaust channels and so on. So looks like hybrid of helicopter and airplane either, but auto gyros, usually they are little, light dragonflies. These one are rather heavy. They are useful, let's say, for their ability to take off and landing and hover in the air. Whether they are reliable and whether it's feasible to transport people like this, I have my own opinion about. and I propose you to form your own opinion about feasibility of such flying machine. Well, helicopters. Now helicopters. Well, helicopter, it's clean, normal rotorcraft in terms of helicopter lift completely depends on motion of helicopter rotor. And I would say that is the main disadvantage of any helicopter. As only engines stopped, it may block, in some cases, auto rotation of main rotor is available. In some cases, it just blocked this rotation. And instead of flying machine, it became the falling stone, falling down. You understand? So, in my opinion, helicopters mostly the most dangerous, in my opinion, flying machines. Extremely useful, various in their functions, as funny as nothing else, as for me, in their appearance. Lovely, lovely, lovely. But in my opinion, it's very dangerous machine, and wherever it's possible, exclude this using of this machine. And in addition, if you ever took flight in helicopter, it's very noisy. It's extremely uncomfortable machine, I should say. Well, I had only some flights by helicopters, but I do remember it by now. Types of helicopters. Types of helicopters, they may be categorized by different ways. The most popular classification by amount of rotors. And we will see it a little bit later, but maybe you already understand it, why helicopter need some rotors. So first classification by amount of rotors, at least one more classification by their functions, by their purposes. Right now you see not everything, it's only about some military helicopters. Now I just took some picture, you understand, to show it, to remind myself about all about this classification. And let's see to the helicopter aerodynamic and how it's fly at all. When helicopter forces acting to the helicopter, when helicopter rotate the rotor, what happened? When it's rotates the rotor, on the each blade of rotor, it's appeared the lift and some resulting force, resulting aerodynamical force, not lift, resulting aerodynamical force, and this force somehow directed. Now we already see it. Let's come back to the previous picture. That one. This force is directed with direction normal to the main rotor, and it may move helicopter up, or in case it's less than the weight of helicopter may descend, move down. But how to move helicopter to the front, to the left, to the right? And usually this problem is solved in such a way. Helicopter decline its nose, it's like pitching down a bit. And you see here the plane of main rotor also pitching down, and final force, this resulting force, the force of rotor, it's deviated with some angle. Due to this, it's appearing on one hand lift, decomposition of this force, as we have seen hundreds of times already. The lift and the thrust that push helicopters front. Seems like everything is very simple, but it's a period but. Take a look onto this but. No, here is the same, but with more explanations. I took but that is from the book that I have shown you, this Federal Aviation Administration, this picture. On purpose show it with number figure. If you need it, you will find it and read about. Here is I placed a couple of beautiful pictures to show you. Why helicopter need some rotors? Let's recollect Newton third law. Action is equal to reaction. What helicopter do? Rotate the rotor. And due to these blade rotations in one direction, it's appearing reacting force, which rotate helicopters. The whole helicopter will be rotated in another direction. I think you have already thought such video maybe. May try to find right now, but I think it's not necessary. When it's some problem with either tail rotor of helicopter or some another controlling device of helicopter, and we see how helicopter rotates in the air instead of just hovering in the air, it starts rotates severely, and this losing of control, of course, it's maybe resulted in the crash. You understand? Well. What should we do in this case? How to counteract to the force like this? No, once again, the man who was the first ever, has solved this problem in his first flying helicopter. That was, it's not in the order of my explanations that I've thought to make. Igor Ivanovich, help us. Here is. Here is. You see, test flight, maiden flight of helicopter in 1939. Very interesting photo. Especially interesting that the test pilot, who should be, as you understand, in some protective device, something like helmet. No, he was always in his lucky hat, and now he have protected his enormous brains only with the head. He solved this problem by adding their rotors at the end, and here is rather weird structure of helicopter, of course, but these tail rotors also rather weird decision for modern helicopters. You see there are some tail rotors on the tail beam, something like stabilizer on behind. Okay, let's come back to previous explanation. Where the slide? So the most typical decision after Sikorsky made his first models of helicopter with one more rotor incorporated in the tail beam, but this rotor was in perpendicular direction with respect to the plane of that rotor. Rotation was perpendicular to direction of main rotor. And in this case, this little tail rotor that rotate somewhere in another place, it's also create lift, and this lift with respect to the center of gravity create counter moment. If main rotor create moment, torque rotated the helicopter, try to rotate helicopter in this direction, tail rotor should create a force which create counter moment, and this stabilize the flight. So another rotor, it's necessary, like stabilizer in the airplane was necessary, actually. Seems like this. No, the same picture explaining explaining the same, very simple, but do forgive me, it's in German. Seems like. No, I think it's in German. Well, once again, so let's come back to this picture. By amount of rotors and how they are placed, the main scheme of helicopters are. You might see, I gave you the most typical examples of those pictures. You might find the same in a book. We'll try to see it together also. But not all the pictures show their whole classifications, and not all of them give the same names. No, the main most popular names are single main rotor helicopter. That's conventional one. You see main rotor and tail rotor on the beam. The same may be called there are no names. Да? I've seen another, some little bit deviated from this name for this type of helicopter, including the conventional one, just conventional helicopter. It comes about thin main rotor with tail rotor. That one first. How to solve the problem of this counter rotation? No, not compulsory to place here additional rotor, little one on the tail that counteract to the main one. Here is the scheme of helicopter that also have two rotors. They are main rotors, both of them. They are on the same axis. That is why they are called coaxial main rotors, but they rotate in different sides. And due to this, they create different torque moments, and helicopter don't need this stabilizer, things like this. Some companies use this coaxial helicopter scheme, like their brand at all. For instance, Kamov helicopters, they are practically, it's former Soviet Union, and next it's continued. Kamov helicopters practically always coaxial. They always have two main rotors. It's a rather interesting scheme. It's create additional advantage in lift, you understand, in contrary to little tail, which don't take any part practically in creating the lift. It's only stabilize the flight. That one, in that case, where we have coaxial helicopter scheme, both of main rotors, they're responsible exactly for lift, let's say, and solving the problem of this torque moment. The same, it may be done, but not in the same axis. You see, two rotors. Of course, they will rotate along the axis of helicopter. That is famous American Chinook. In their classification, it's CH-47. If I'm not mistaken, it's Boeing helicopter. We will check. And I should say that in America, it was literally four main company produced helicopters, but now it's no, and of course some little one, but now its amount even reduced. And as I checked, Sikorsky Corporation, Sikorsky company, now it's like a daughter of Lockheed company. And time to time they unite their efforts. By couples, usually this company unites their efforts, especially when it comes about military orders, military competitions for new structure of helicopter, new design of helicopter. And they propose time to time very interesting scheme, but usually a company literally they unite in these competitions in order to get this military, this defense ministry orders for fuse manufacturing. Well, once again, two rotors rotates in different directions. It will be two quite typical decision. However, next, you see so-called tandem helicopter, tandem rotor helicopter with two different main rotors in different places along the fuselage of helicopter. And if we remove, remove rotors and add here the wings, we will see normal airplane or something like this, like Gyrodyne, yes? Next, one more decision is typical decision also. Whatever weird it looks like, maybe not understandable, but I'm going to show you short video about this. It's so-called intermeshing rotor helicopter, where both of main rotors, they are placed very closely to each other, not in the same axis, but very closely, and they direct in different directions. That one, I would not say it's helicopter at all. It's called in classifications tilt rotor helicopter, but it's more similar, do forgive me, to converter plane, converter plane in English, and so-called compound helicopter, or pay attention. Here is two main rotors and prop at the end, you see. Or Natar helicopters. Natar helicopter I will show you right now. Once again, the same classification practically, but with another helicopters. Conventional one, tail rotored, main rotor with tail rotored helicopter. Tandem one, coaxial one, this one. Do forgive me, converter plane. Do kill me, but it's not helicopter, it's converter plane. That one intermeshing, that one it's so-called compound one that we have seen here, and look at this one. No second rotor. Weight disappeared. That is, I even opened the source where I took this picture. And that one, it's a company, McDonnell Douglas company, what they decided to do, they removed the additional rotor at the end, as it's create, do forgive me, additional drag. Yes, it stabilizes the flight, but it's also create additional drag. Do forgive me for a second. Sorry. Emergency matter. Once again, this no tar scheme, no tail rotor practically. If you decipher this abbreviation. And inside the tail beam, they have additional fan, but inside of tail beam. And this additional fan create jet stream. More probably it's it's fed from main engine or engines which are hidden somewhere here. But this jet stream, it's used like a direct device of controlling the flight. On one hand, it's counteract to the torque moment of created by main rotor. On other hand, it may be used like instead of flight controls, like direct this jet stream direct control of flight due to directing of the jet stream with deviating the jet stream in flight. What is also interesting scheme, but in case something happened to these devices, you understand it became uncontrollable either. So all these schemes, they have their preferences and disadvantages, like advantages, disadvantages, just to entertain you. Let's see the video. It's intermeshing helicopter. Practically seems like the same model here. How it's work, it's very short video with extremely pleasant sounds. Just to entertain you, as I said, in order you may imagine what it looks like. No, I hope it's not difficult to imagine even without this video. And now if I come back to that photo of Sikorsky, when I read about his attempt to start to make the helicopters flight, what I read first, and what I know actually, even before I was interested in Sikorsky person, in their work, and so on, I heard such name, direct translation from our language will be something like automaton of deviation or automaton of declination. What is it? And in our language, it sounds no less weird. Which used in each helicopter to make helicopter fly. In English, it's called swash plate. We will see it in some pictures next. And as I already said, in a book that I propose you to use, in case you are interested, you will, introduction to the helicopter, maybe I meant to show you some picture here, but I already not clearly remember, sorry. Well, if you start scroll it to see aerodynamics of helicopter, you will see very similar pictures that we already know when we study some information about aerodynamical flight. You have seen practically the same pictures, the same information about downwashing, about this, about that, and about drag, what are components of drag and how they appeared, about resulting forces, and so on. But the only difference may be from flight of the airplane, if you imagine it. Once again, let's come back to the airfoil. It was downwashing somewhere. Yeah. Look, force appearing, this resulting force, and this force, like useful for us. It's appearing when downwashing the relative wing. It's directed with no to the nose, to the this leading edge of airfoil. Yes, on one hand. On the other hand, especially when this flying machine already trying to make horizontal flight, and it's rotate the main rotor, how it's fly once again due to rotation of main rotor, no, not rotation but declination of main rotor to the horizon. Yeah? When it's moved tail up and pitch down the nose, and plane of rotation changes, and resulting force should be decomposed to the lift and pushing force. But what happened, if you imagine what happened in this case, you will understand that each blade which rotates, it will have its permanently change angle of attack. It will have permanent changing in the lift, like less, more, because due to the position of each of blade, the blade, it's like it's not stable in flight. And Sikorsky, in his first attempts to fly in helicopter, in his model of helicopter that we see right now, he encountered such a problem. He moved up successfully and down successfully. And as I read, he was successfully moved to the left and to the right. But this machine were not able to fly front. And until he understand what is the problem and solve this problem in his own engineering way, it passed around 1.5 years, 18 months. He tried to teach his machine to fly front. It will taking off, hovering, deviating somehow, but do not fly front. And to solve this problem, he has invented his own swash plate, no, this swash plates, as it call it in English, special vehicle. We will see right now what this vehicle is. But before him, similar thing, a bit different in design. It's said that Sikorsky design is more perfect. It's like more, no, it's better. But even by now, some helicopters use Sikorsky design, some helicopters use Yuriev design. Sikorsky and Yuriev, there are family names of inventors of this mechanism that necessary to help helicopter fly, to control it in flight, to make it fly forward. Let me to show you. I left here on purpose some pages. No, here is Natar. Not. What here is the scheme of Natar helicopter. Do forgive me, it's not about swash plate. It's in order we may imagine how Natar system work. Maybe it was necessary to take also this photo, 2 slides. And where is it? Where is it? We will find it now. No. That one. That one and English one. No, Piechesky. It's not on time. Look, No, see the mechanism right now. I will show you in English version of this free encyclopedia. There are also this animation. Do forgive me. No, as for me, it's say nothing. And that one, look. First, let's take a look on this video. Do bet nothing is visible. I've been watching sometimes. What is the trick? What is the trick? Look, looks like now you see that this main plate, no, it's deviated. The rotor actually is already in this fly forward. That rotor is tilted. It should be declined to the horizon. But pay attention. Here is visible this main plate, so called at the bottom. It's deviated, yes, and there are rods of this copper-like color. Do pay attention that all the blades seems like they're in stable position, they're in same angle of attack. Do pay attention. Nothing changed, nothing changed. But if you watch attentively, you see that rods seems like move up, down, like they rotate the blade actually. In flight, they rotate the blade regularly. Each cycle resulted in rotating the blade sometimes. And in the same screen, but in another language, I have found the, wait a second, I will show you. Oh, if no, it's like invented inverted motion. You see, now this plate is not stable, no, and now it's visible on this swash plate. This swash plate made with blades. But in previous animation, we've seen it not movable, and it was not practically understandable what it do. It's not obvious, was. But now you see how it's work. But really, in flight, it's something like we have seen in previous animation here. Oh, not like this. Ukrainian. But that finally it will look like this, quite stable rotation with constant angle of attack. But really, each blade permanently rotates with these additional rods, which comes to the swash plate. Now, I'll show you now the slides again. Here is this swash plate, and here is explanation how main rotor works. Not much understandable, maybe this explanation. In animation, it was understandable more, as for me. And in slides, you will see some schemes that explain how this swash plate usually arranged. It's rather complex mechanism. Once again, there are two models of them. One photo you see on the on the right. On the right, you see Russian Soviet engineer Boris Yuryev, who solved this problem, and I will show you also his first attempts. And it's known that he solved this problem before the First World War, but he didn't succeed. He have no flights or something like this. He didn't invented flying helicopter, but at least he solved this problem in engineering way. And whether Sikorsky knew about this work or not, because approximately they've been living, but in different cities in the same country, approximately at the same time. You do remember, I hope, that Sikorsky before the First World War has traveled from Kiev to St. Petersburg, to the capital of the Russian Empire, and he worked with airplanes because at that moment he was designer, inventor of airplanes, and outstanding airplanes, amazing for that time. Boris Yuryev at the same time been working in Moscow, and he was a student of Nikolai Yegorovich Zhukovsky, and he was even his, it's called son-in-law. He had married his daughter later. So he also approximately at the same time, at the same country, but no, do forgive me, it was quite another period of civilization. People who divided with them hundreds of kilometers, they had no ways of communication besides of letters, for instance, or telegrams. Short telegrams were available at that time. And whether they knew about work of each other or not, that is the question. So seems like they goes in separate ways, but solve it, this problem in similar way, but with some no, some differences in their devices. And this swash plate, practically without changing, swash plates practically without changing, they are now using in all the structures of helicopters in order to control its flight, in order to make helicopter flight. No, and as I like Sikorsky work, and really more maybe even to entertain you. I need also to check whether I said everything I meant to say about helicopters. Just to make you laugh, people. Take a look onto this creature. Very funny photo, as for me. It's the very first Sikorsky helicopter, and with maybe with number, no, not sure. It's called CH3, but what is the number in his counting? Not true. Necessary to check. Something like S39, maybe. And that one, look, it's also Sikorsky design. It's person from a from animation movies for children. Very simple, very beautiful. But this very beautiful, very funny, cute creature. Actually, it's very unpleasant creature, let's say, because it was on no, it's used as a weapon in American army. No, it's cargo helicopter, quite clear, you understand. It's very famous helicopter which was taken as a weapon to army with designation CH-37. And how it was used, you see, for transportation of troops, for transportation even of automobile vehicles, and so on. That is the general appearance of it. Heavy loaded helicopter, but that one is the best ever. Like crocodile. And approximately at the same time, don't think that I'm teasing you. Yes, I'm teasing you a bit, but don't think it's a joke. It's also helicopter, but that one, of course, is souvenir by motives of real helicopter. A real one, no, not much differ. You see, it's so-called flying banana, and it's also helicopter of 15 years of previous century, and very difficult name to pronounce. Maybe will be for you, maybe not true. Maybe it's not difficult for you. Piaczewski. Piaczewski, because he had origin somewhere in Italy, this designer. No, you see, all Americans. One came from Russia, another came from Italy, and so on. As it said, America is a country of immigrants. This flying banana, no, originally, the beginning looks like this. Flying banana, it also was considered like very first scheme of tandem helicopters, very known airplane, and it was used in American army, and it was used as civil helicopter also, as cargo helicopter, passenger helicopter, and rescue helicopter. Well, no, we still have some minutes. Slides are practically over. No, that one is, it's like, for me, for the next period of our conversations. And again, you see this single main rotor helicopter example, tandem one, coaxial one, tilt rotor, and of different types, tilt rotor, tilt wing. They are really not helicopters. We can't call them gyrodynes. What if we compare to gyrodynes? You do remember gyrodyne permanently have, it was visible. Let's come back to gyrodynes. Gyrodyne permanently has their here is no, it permanently has these cruise engines, as they are called, with their props, or no, they do not use never turbojet engines, because turbojet will be on one hand too speedy, on other hand they will be too heavy. If you fly slowly, they are heavy and too much eating it's anyway, because their fuel consumption is not economical in this on that speed of flight, in this range of flight, the gyrodyne use. And their main rotors, rather big one, no? Notable. Of course, it's not the same as those tilt rotor, as they are called. They are not helicopters, once again, they are hybrid aircraft, which has, no, usually they are categorized like converter planes. Converter planes, sorry, in English, converter planes. Well, and what I forget to say you else about helicopters, no, how they fly, as for me, it's simple to imagine. I promised you to show some historical photos. We'll do it right now. Scheme of helicopter flight forces. In climbing, descending, it's just directed, no, typically it's directed top, the lift of main rotor, and it's either exceeded the weight and then you climb up, or it's less than the weight and then you descend. And in order to make flight, it's has it have to, it's necessary to move tail up. It's necessary to move tail up, no, to decline the main rotor plane, and in this case, it's also should deviate this resulting force. We may decompose it, use it to producing the lift and to producing the thrust, no, some imitation of thrust, let's say. But in this case, problem was, and you have seen this problem, that each blade will change in case you have no this pitch control in the view of a swash plate. Each blade will a different angle of attack permanently while making one rotation. It will permanently change angle of attack. In order to stabilize the angle of attack, been invented device, once again independently. It was invented by two different engineers. On one hand, first, no, at least it's considered the first was Boris Yuryev. I've seen in different sources that it was one more engineer, Italian engineer, do not remember the name now, but if you're interested in the historical book, you might find the place about his work. But again, there are no evidences, there are no models, and so on. And another one who solved this problem, but a bit a bit later, it was Igor Ivanovich Sikorsky that you see on the left, the father of helicopters, or Mr. Helicopter, how it's called in all the world. Wait a second, let's find that book. It was just in Google Library, and I placed it somewhere. Here is. No. The book name is Principles of Helicopter Aerodynamics. Still didn't find the way how to find it for free. Do forgive. And what do you see right now? It's a historical photo. No, here is the story about helicopters, about the invention of in this field, and so on. And interesting to read, really. And here is a historical photo. And in this historical photo made in 1912, when Sikorsky been involved in his airplane Grant, no, the one with the balcony in the front, no, in front of cockpit, you do remember, да? Like for passengers, but passenger may goes on the balcony and to to enjoy the view during the flight. Uh, Approximately at the same time, Boris Yuriev and a group of students of Zhukovsky in Moscow, they've been trying to create flying machine similar, very similar, to pay attention, to helicopter. And there is no visible here, like some. Oh, no, here is Gaetano Grosso in Italy in 96. What it's said that he maybe was the first. And not visible in this model any tracks, let's say, of this wash plate, no, as it's written in literature sources. But nevertheless, it's considered that exactly Yuriev, no, it's considered proven already that Yuriev was the author. Let me to find. Natar, great. Maybe I already closed it. Pechesky. Ну, да. That I just opened this flying banana. Great feelings should be. Do imagine how they fly. No? That we will close. That is also about flying bananas, but by variety of photos, you already understand that it's very serious helicopter. Actually, however funny it looks in some photos, serious helicopter really been used as rescue helicopter, as cargo helicopter, and as passenger helicopter. Wait a second, that we don't need any longer. Also, here is interesting photo about this helicopter. Why it doesn't move now? They were movable. No idea why. They move. Now they move. It was said that the very first model was taken to American Army even in 40, what you see, да, the year 1948, much earlier than Sikorsky helicopter of similar capacity, let's say. No, that one, that helicopter Mafhaf was much more powerful, no, seems like, and it was with another purpose. That one, you see, it's maybe used for passengers, for troops, or for rescuing people, no, under the helicopter. You see this hanging device. But Mahav, it was helicopter for transporting the not only the people, but in other vehicles, like this. And actually, from bottom, it has rather funny appearance. If you interested, you will open this name to watch in different books and different sources. And let me to show what I tried to show. If I find it, Yuriev Pechesky, it's great, but how to find? Let's try to find it quickly, if possible. English language. And да, here is a Paul Korno. Вот, Boris Yuriev, but there is no any link to another. Here is. Да, I recollect. No, that is, you see two flying bicycles at once. That is first attempt of Korno's helicopter. What can be seen wheels, plates with levers controlling the pitch. That is why it's also considered like one of those who tried to solve this problem of pitch control, of rotating the blade for saving, for keeping the same angle of attack during the flight. Machine is just, this vehicle is just, it's something. What our ideas, what our designer may imagine, it's what really it's something. And that is the model And this model in museum is shown together with, you see, with practically the same photos that we have seen in historical book in English of Yuriev helicopter, and it's already 5 years later. But at least Yuriev mechanism next been used in the most of helicopters before appearing of no before not appearing but before spreading of Sikorsky design of the same type. And in our country mostly used swash plates of Yuriev design. In Western countries, quite clear Sikorsky design. No, as far as I know. Well, and I hope it's enough. No, the same as I said you in English version there is animation, but by this animation it's difficult to understand something. By combining of animations that I have shown you, where blades looks completely stable, and in contrary where it's inverted motion and blades dancing permanently, it's more understandable what was the problem in flight, what was necessary to solve to make this to make helicopters fly. And that is why maybe one of the reasons why Sikorsky is called father of helicopters, because he taught helicopters fly forward. Well, and we will continue later with another vehicles flying vertically or taking off vertically, and with some another ways to control flight without flight controls, not due to flight controls, let's say. Right now, let's stop record.